Hey, thanks for stopping by. My name's Thomas. This is Zarbo Audio Projects, and today, rather than show you a specific project or product, I'm just going to give you a tour of my workshop. I'm trying to get back into making videos, and I thought this might be a nice segue. It is interesting to see how other people have their shop set up. I always find those kind of videos kind of enlightening. I usually pick up an idea or two, but the real reason that I'm doing this now is because I just cleaned up recently, and I'm pretty sure it's never going to be this clean again. So I figured, let me give you a tour now before it gets all filthy again. I'm trying to use the selfie stick for the first time too, because my other camera broke. So we'll see how that goes. So let's take a peek at what I have down here, and maybe I'll give you a little more information on why I have it. All right, let's go. All right, coming down the stairs, I'll just give you a quick overview. But what we have here is my toolboxes, a couple of benches, couple of tables, lots of lights, some cabinets, little work table, junk drawer in the form of a cart, and back here to the main stars of the show here. Most important thing about having a workshop is keeping your stuff organized. So I've got 3 of these. These are all Harbor Freight. This is the U.S. General, the most recent one. I forget what series that is, but it's the one where it opens up all the way. The top opens up 90 degrees. And these things are pretty beefy. They're pretty cheap. You can get them on sale for under 200 bucks. This one here is also a Harbor Freight item, but this one here is kind of neat. This one, oops. This one's cool because it has a lot of smaller drawers. And I find this a lot handier for the woodworking and stuff that I do, because these big drawers are neat on these, but they're really made more for, like, you know, tool sets, oops, wrenches, big heavier stuff, and there's less drawers. Something like this, they don't make this anymore, which I'm kind of sad. I'd get another one, but they don't. This one's better because you can actually put a lot of smaller stuff in there. You see, I got everything labeled: impact drivers and bits, small fiddly stuff. I literally got it. That zip ties, glue sticks, syringes, razors, cutters, Q-tips, brushes, rollers, chisels, scrapers, etc., and so forth. So anyway, I've got these. I just picked this blue one up 3, 4, or 5 months ago, something like that, just to sort of give myself more space so stuff's not packed in as much. The more tools you get, kind of the more you really need space to put them. Over here, that's an old microwave cart. For years, I had my miter saw on that thing. Now, I got to do something with it. It's kind of a mess. I have paper in the drawer. Down there, I have stuff I don't use too often, like bandsaw blades and circular saw blades. But this is a mess. This isn't really working. That's something I need to do better. Have a strip up there, a long power strip, which gives me access to more charging ability. Well, dehumidifier. It is in the basement, right? And I'm in South Jersey. Say no more. Okay, we've got an air compressor here. Got some air tools just junked up. I need to clean this up. I got a hand wind, air hose reel, and just to back up and give you a little more overview of what we got going on here. Also, kind of the star of the show is this table. This table is made from a hospital door. Now, those things have to be fire rated. So they're pretty thick, pretty beefy, as this one is. This was a dumpster dive find that my dad found. Thanks, Dad. Years ago when he used to work for the hospital system. It's on wheels, as you can see. Without falling over. I did it. Congratulations, Tom. Yeah, but this is a hospital door. Just made a little frame for it. I made L-shaped corners out of 2x4s, some cross braces, and just do some nice Harbor Freight Tools casters on it. And I can reel this thing anywhere I want, anywhere there's better light, wherever I just feel like working on something. This here, another table that's been cut down, another dumpster dive find by my father. That one's also on wheels. This one's sort of recently living here semi-permanently. I've got storage on the wall. This is going to be like a hobby area, maybe car stereo area. I got my grinder there for now. I don't use that too often, but it's nice to have when you need it. Over here, I have my stand mount drill press, which I've also put on wheels. I like to have things on wheels. Everything is on wheels here. Here's another short work table. It's butcher block, old butcher block. I've got my Harbor Freight Tools Central Machinery sander. I think it's a 9-inch disc, 9 or 10-inch disc, probably 9. 6-inch belt. This thing works a lot better than the standard 4-inch belt and 6-inch disc. This is really useful. I mean, when you pull this thing out and put some wood on this thing here, you can do like roundovers almost as fast as you could with a router. You just have to sort of like judge it yourself, but sand up to the line, you know what I mean? But anyway, it's handy having this thing on wheels because I can get it out of the way. This is my spindle sander. That's my jigsaw, rigid jigsaw, variable speed. I don't use that a lot, but when I do, it really does come in handy. I've got a vise strapped onto this thing, given to me by a friend. Thank you, Colonel. It's a dual vise. It's got the old metal ones down there and the woodworking one up here. Pivots around, really kind of cool. Dust collection over there. Bandsaw there. Compound miter saw station here. Like I said, for years, I had that thing sitting on another one that I had, and then this one, when I got this one, sitting on that old microwave table. It was wobbly and just a mess. So several years ago, I decided I was going to make myself a real, honest-to-goodness miter station. And I knew I was going to have storage underneath. I just didn't know quite how to do it. So I put drawers in, just cabinet doors. And I said, let me just leave the stupid thing open. I'll get some bins, and I'll keep some tools in the bins. So that's what I've done. I got bins, larger bins for the bigger saw, jigsaw, the big mama drill, belt sander, spindle sander stuff, hammer drill. And then I've got some smaller ones for, you know, smaller routers, Dremel tools, the multi-vibration tool, trim routers, stuff like that. I have a bunch of routers. I tend to, instead of changing bits and swapping things out all the time, I kind of tend to have multiple routers. When you can buy them for 30 bucks at Harbor Freight Tools, if it's something you're not going to, an operation you're not going to do all the time, you don't mind having a cheaper router that's maybe not as nice. So that's it. Let me show this to you. I mean, I have to put it on a tripod to show you, but it's kind of cool how this door, how this extension rather, that's not a door, how this extension flips out. I'll put it on a tripod and show you better, but that thing just sort of locks. So I can kick it with my foot. Just sort of locks. And then once you tap it, it just goes back down. And that's it. I got that on both sides for extensions. And that's on wheels also. I can get behind it and clean it real easy. This is my stash of wood. Some of it's just 2x4s and stuff for making stuff out of. Some of it's hardwood. Some of it's pretty beefy hardwood. Got a couple of big 3x10 oak planks. I got some oak and maple stuff over there, but nothing special. This here is my, I'm going to back up. This is my sheet goods cart. It doesn't look like much. Let me get over here on a better angle so you can kind of see it. But what it is it's an A-frame kind of thing, and it holds my sheet goods, lets me roll it out of the way, and kind of keep things cleaned up. There's the middle of it. In the middle at the bottom, maybe hard to see, but I got some pipe clamps that I don't use very often. And then over there, leaning against my bootleg shelving system with a dust protective plastic on it, I do have some extra sheet goods that I just purchased. I'm just leaning it there for now. This is my router table, and this is what it looks like without all the stuff on it. Pretty simple in its operation. I didn't make it to do a lot of fancy things. There's no, tracks in it or anything. The fence just is clamped on with the standard C clamps, and mostly what I'm doing with this is rounding over speaker cabinets, subwoofer cabinets. That's mostly what I'm doing. Let me back up a little bit. This is my kind of the star of my show. The one tool that I think is the most important to have for somebody who's been doing this for a little while is a really good table saw that can be squared precisely and that has a good fence. that will keep things from moving around when you're running stuff through. This is the single most important thing to making good things that are square, sturdy, and that line up and that don't have gaps in them. That's the most important tool I think that I have as a speaker builder. And this is another one of those tables. Thanks again, Dad. And this table here is about the same height, roughly, as the table saw is. So it's my sort of outfeed table. I also paint on it and do all kinds of stuff on it, and you've seen it in my videos if you watch any of my videos. This thing here, this is an even bigger, sort of very limited purpose router table. Pretty big leftover scrap of countertop material that I had when we redid our kitchen. Excuse me, bowl. And this is a really big fence. The reason I did this is because this thing is 1.5 inches round over. Let me put my hand next to it. It's pretty big, and I just want super protective stuff around that. I don't want any chance of anything getting misaligned, squeezed, fed too fast, or anything. So this is going to enable me to put 1.5 inch roundovers on things as safely as possible. Not that it's super safe, but I try to be as careful as I can. And this is speed control. Something that big, you need to slow the bit down, or else the outside of it's going to be spinning super fast. So that is that, and it's too big to really hide someplace, so it's just sitting on one of these tables. In a little bit, I'm gonna actually put a plank underneath this table here. I'll probably slide it under there just to get some extra space and get it out of the way. That thing is stupidly big. It's probably 4 feet wide, but I wanted something really big and safe. I sort of glossed over the dust collection system. This is simple Harbor Freight one. I do have a pipe going to my table saw. Sorry if that makes you dizzy. It kind of makes me dizzy too. And then I have a blast gate for that one. I have that going up there. I have a blast gate there. And then I have this here where it branches off, goes down to my compound miter saw. That's a DeWalt 10-inch compound sliding miter saw, really nice. And then the other branch goes to the Harbor Freight Tools Central Machinery bandsaw, which I don't use very often. When I do use it, I need it and it works well, but it's something that doesn't get used all the time. What I need to do is kind of have another blast gate and another T coming off so I can run a pipe down to roughly this neck of the woods here in this vicinity of the workshop, so that when I'm doing routering and sanding and other stuff like that, I can just pull something down and suck most of that stuff up. That would be a better use. Also, I don't know if you can see it, but that red thing there between the hose and the dust collection cloth on the top, that is a automatic starter thingy. And this is the transmitter. So I just hit the on button on that. It starts the dust collection system, and then I can just start my table saw or whatever else I need to do. And that is that. That makes life a little easier. I want to back around like this, and I'm going to show you another star of the show. This is my clamp rack. I wanted to make one of these for a while. I finally did. Let me roll that thing out. Now, this is pretty compact. I don't know the exact dimensions, but it's on wheels, as is everything. But basically, it's just a couple 2x4s glued together, notched out with like 3/8 inch notches, into which these kind of standard Harbor Freight Tools clamps just sort of slide into and stay put. These are the clamps. They're the metal ones. They've got the, it's not showing up. Focus, darn it. It's got the knurled things in there, and it just sort of, that's the mechanism. But they're metal, they're strong. I've got, I don't know, 40, 50 of them here in varying sizes. I've never had one slip or cause a bad glue up. So I think they are pretty good. They're fairly inexpensive. And every time I'm there, I look at them. And sometimes when I'm there, I pick up an extra couple. I can't help myself. I'm running out of slots though, so I'm going to have to stop doing that soon. On top here, I got my hand screws. Most of these are probably from Harbor Freight Tools too. I think my parents got me these. I got 12-inch, 10-inch, 8-inch. Down there, I got 6-inch and even 4-inch ones. And they're handy when you need that. That's what you need. And so that's what I have when I need it. Did that make any sense? I don't know. Just got some of these clamps too. These are kind of cool. They're like plastic. I don't know how strong they are, but let's see. Put that on there. And pretty sturdy. I don't know. I haven't used them yet, but they were on sale. And I had a gift card, and I said, let me see what those are about. But the cool thing about this, I'm trying to do this one-handed, but the cool thing about that is wherever you are in the shop, if you want to do a glue up, you just pull that thing next to you. And if you need more clamps, you've got more clamps. It's really handy. Plus the thing gets out of the way. I've got a couple, what do you call those? Strap clamps that make like picture frame clamps. I've got 2 of them in there. Sometimes you need something like that if you're gluing up a miter, something with miter joints or whatever. That's a music player. I did a little video on that, I think. Some more shelving units. I have some work to do on getting this thing exactly the way I want it, but it's getting there. So this is a countertop. You can buy these at Home Depot or Lowe's, pretty cheap. I don't know what they are now. They were cheap when I bought them. And just plywood sides. But if you notice, even this thing, it's on wheels. I don't know if you can tell. There's a wheel there. There's one over there. And what you do is you lift this up, kind of like a wheelbarrow at the front, and you can reel it out. You can roll it out. So you can clean back there and everything like that. Up here, I did install some unfinished cabinets. I got those from Home Depot or Lowe's. I know people sometimes can try to find like ones people are throwing away on the side of the road when they do a remodel. I didn't happen to find any, and I wanted something pretty nice. I spend a lot of time down here, like an awful lot of time, so I want something nice. So anyway, these are not that expensive. They're unfinished. You finish them yourself. They're fairly sturdy. I got things like sandpaper, Fastener bits. What is that? Sandpaper, what do you call it? Belt sander pieces, instructions for things, and then a lot of router bits. Some big ones, some little ones, some router hardware, all kinds of different things. And then whatever you want up here. I got to redo all this. Ooh, sorry about that. I'm in the process of sort of reorganizing this thing. I'm kind of always in the middle of it, but I also installed lights under there. That's on its own switch, which is here. Excuse the for rent sign. I'm doing a sign study at my school, at preschool. It doesn't really fit. This place isn't for rent, but so it's nice coming down in the morning. You know, you kind of come down the steps on a Saturday morning when you're in the middle of a project or something, or you want to do a project and you're getting started. You just put your coffee cup there on the counter, sit down, turn some music on. I have an Alexa there. You're welcome. It also wires into this stereo thing and hooks up to these speaker terminals, which go up to these, which are 8-inch Pioneer Bofos, if you know what that is. Just thrown up there in the ceiling. I got one over there. I don't play it loud. I don't like music loud when I'm working on stuff. It's distracting to me. I just can't concentrate when things are very loud. But anyway, it is nice coming down here on a Saturday morning, sitting down, figuring, sketching something up, doing a little this, that, or the other. It's kind of fun. And a quick little segue. This is an upcoming project. I'll take the wraps off real quick just to show you. Ooh, passive radiators. Subwoofers. More passive radiators. All right, okay. And I recently purchased this too, just to show you this. Always wanted one of these things. These are the kind of things that are in hardware stores. You know, like any kind of screw or bolt you have or nut, you can put it on there and figure out what size it is. This has got standard and metric both. This was only like $35 or $40. It seems like a lot, but for what it does, it's actually, I think, a bargain. I've always wanted one, now I got one. And I've used it already quite a few times, so I don't regret that at all. Got one of these little Harbor Freight tools. I did a quick little video on that. Holds some different stuff. Right now, I don't really have anything in here that's going to be in there. Just like I said, I just cleaned up and I got stuff shoved. I got to do a better job. I need to be better. I know. There's my kind of high-rise chair, and that's an old chair where the chair kind of broke. So I just basically stuck a piece of plywood to it. So now if I got to do something low to the ground, I can get low to the ground and still have a semi-comfortable place to sit. All right, Now I want to talk, before I finish, I want to talk for a second about lighting. Lighting is kind of a funny thing. When I first set this thing up with electric, I don't know, 10 years ago, I forget how many years ago, more than that. No, it was more than that. Well, when I first set this place up for electric, I also had lines run for lights. And the electrician put in the, he put in the outlets. That one's got extra plugs in there, don't look at that. But I purchased these smaller diameter fluorescent bulbs. And they're actually pretty good. And I've got quite a few of them. Overall, just take a look at the basement and you'll see it's pretty well lit. Well, the reason it's pretty well lit is because I've added additional lights. If I back up a little bit, you can kind of see what I have. These are the fluorescent ones on the right side here. And these ones here are fluorescent. I've got, that one turns on with the light. And of course I got one there shining on that. And I got a bunch over here. But listen, lighting is important. You want to be able to see well, but you don't want things glary. And that's kind of the problem I'm finding. Now, these lights are diffused enough where they don't make me squint. But here's what happened. Less than a year ago, I noticed this area here where the pole is, in between, there's a little crawl space right in there to under one of the parts of the house that doesn't have a full basement. But this area here, where the trash can is in that vicinity, I would do a lot of sanding, routering, and stuff like that. And I didn't have a lot of light. And in part, it was because I've got these huge air ducts here, and then this pole, and that supports the whole steel I-beam that holds the center of the house up. So I really didn't have a spot to put a light, but I did have this little spot here. So I said, let me try to get some extra lights and put them in there. And what I found was that these really nice, soft glow fluorescent bulbs are they're not doing away with them, but you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and try to find these things, and good luck. I found 2 of them, and they were all messed up. They had been returned. They didn't work. They were broken. They're getting harder to find. I did manage to secure, I think, one of them. I think I got one over here. Do I? Yeah, I've got one, maybe 2. But oops. But this is the other thing that I ended up using. This is a Braun 4-foot linkable shop light, 5,500 lumens from Harbor Freight Tools. And that's what I put up for some additional lighting. Now I put them up here in that spot, like I said, where I do sanding and routering, just in this crevice up here, just to have some additional light. So that when I'm standing here, things are bright enough. And now it's well lit. But boy, those suckers are bright. They are glary. Look at that thing. God, Zeus. It's such a small bulb, such a small area, and the light coming out of it's so bright that standing under it, I kind of almost feel like I have to squint. I almost want to wear a baseball cap to cut down on the, the glare. When I stand in front of these, I don't have that problem. Maybe it's just because I'm older. Maybe you young folks wouldn't really care, but it kind of bothers me. So I've got these here. I can't do much about those. It's a confined space, so I just deal with it. But I wanted to get it a little brighter down here. So what I did was I bought some more of those, but instead of them having them face down, oh crap, I just killed that one. I got to fix that. Anyway, instead of having them face, great work, Zarbo. Okay, instead of having them face down like that, what I did was I put them on an angle like that. Shining, if you can see that, it's shining on an angle, maybe a 40, 45 degree angle. And I got a couple of them. What it's basically doing is it's bouncing off the wall. It's giving me some extra indirect lighting. And that actually really makes this place brighter and a lot nicer. I'll have to fix that. And I did the same over here. I got one up there. It's angled. It's facing the wall. And it's actually really improved the amount of brightness in here. So I think that's something to consider. If you're setting up your workshop and you haven't really got things squared away yet, put some thought into where you want to put your lights. In fact, maybe even buy a couple, put them up there, see where you think you might like them. And it really all sort of depends too on where you put stuff. So here's the thing. When I purchased this house, I came downstairs for the first time and I looked around, and it's strange, but I kind of instinctively knew where I wanted to put stuff. Like when I came down here, I knew I didn't want a table over there. I wanted a table here. It just felt like that was the right place where it should be, Can't explain why, it's just the feeling, but I felt like I wanted to be doing some cutting operations over there. Maybe some rougher stuff over there, dirtier stuff. And then over here in this area, I want to do some cleaner stuff, some tinkering. I wanted this nice and well lit. And I sort of have an area for each thing, and it's really kind of worked out really nice. I'm not saying it's perfect. It's going to undergo changes, but for the time being, I think I really got it worked out pretty good. Well, thanks for tagging along on this little tour of my workshop. Maybe you got some ideas. If you have some different ideas of what you think you might want to do with your workshop, or maybe some suggestions on what I could do with mine, leave a comment below. I'd like to hear it. So that's it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye now.